Allô? Oui, j'arrive.
Maybe movies.
Here we go again, kiddies.
We've started already. Hello, welcome back. Oh yeah, welcome back. It is Wednesday. We are still stuck in delirium. We are still deliberating over whether or not we want to play host to certain royal personages.
Yeah.
Welcome back. This is Maybe Movies. My name is Max.
My name is Sam.
And my name is Chris.
And we are here for your viewing pleasure to take a couple of great films, pick them apart, put them back together again, not quite in the same way, and see what we end up with. If you were with us on Friday, then you'll know that our movies this month are Leon and No Country for Old Men, and that we'll be swapping Leon for Anton Chigurh, which, as Sam rightly pointed out, is something we haven't done before, is swapping an antagonist for a protagonist.
It's going to be interesting.
To say the least, yes. Before we do that, though, as always, we're just going to do a very, very quick shout-out. This is for a friend of ours from a while ago. This is for Cheap Shot Photography. I can't remember the guy's name, I'm terribly sorry, buddy. But he's another one of the people that started his channel during lockdown and then kind of stepped away from it for a bit when the world started opening up again. Because he got to go home, obviously. But recently he's just started his channel up again. So give him some love. Obviously there will be a link up here somewhere. There'll be a link in the description below. But it's basically advice for amateur photographers.
Ah, it's that one. Yes, of course. I
yeah.
thought I remembered.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So check it out. Show him some love. And tell him that we sent you.
Do it. Do it now.
I must admit, I've got a feeling that the Act 1 is going to be quite quick. Because Chigurh's not in Act 1 that much.
He's not.
I went through and made a kind of a scene order, and all of these are the bits that
I think
he's in.
there are probably just a few little things that we probably want to clarify before we actually jump into the plot itself.
There are. I did have one thing. I know we said we were going to call the end of Act 1 when Llewellyn decides to go on the run. If it's okay, I'd like to stretch that out to when he puts, and I can't remember her name, when he puts his missus on the Greyhound to go to Odessa.
Oh, Jean.
Yes, thank you. I knew it was CJ, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we're going to have a second act that's about an hour long.
That's what I meant.
That is where you meant.
It's when they separate and he goes
Thank you.
and hides the case and she goes off to
Odessa.
Odessa.
Yeah. Because I was worried that you were going to say when he comes back after getting away from the dog. But no, that's weird. Because even that's 35 minutes in and it's still...
He says it to her then, but they don't actually split up until quite a bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, a couple of little things. We've got 4 scenes with Anton in the first act.
I made him speaking to the landlady a separate scene, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I just want to bring this up before we get in, because it was a thing I noticed on rewatching. I noticed before, when you watch Leon, it's very much that sort of almost 1970s, 1980s aesthetic of the New York tenement, where everything's old and worn out and nicotine stained and peeling paint and things like that. I'd noticed that before with Leon, but then watching back with No Country for Old Men, with the exception of not even the cafe itself. The cafe's all worn out. The locations in No Country for Old Men are similar. They're not brand new places. They're all worn out, lived in. And I just suddenly realised that there's a similar aesthetic going on between these two movies, where they're both living in worn out worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, they are. Isolated in their own worlds.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to bring it up before we got into the meat of things.
No, it's very good to bring up.
There was something I was going to bring up as well, which I think, again, we may wish to play up in this with Leon. How much do you know of the origins of Leon?
Not much. We don't know really
of
the
the
film backstory.
Not the film of the character.
No, not much.
Not a huge amount. I mean, I know that he...
Have you seen Nikita?
Oh, I see.
Are you talking about Victor the cleaner?
Victor, nettoyeur.
Yeah.
Played by Jean Reno, is kind of the inspiration for Leon.
Does Jean Reno play him?
Yes.
I've never seen the film of Nikita.
Yeah,
I've
he's-
seen a couple of episodes of the television series that I did, which I also heard was very good.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the film.
No, I know what Max is talking about. There's a guy, it's Jean Reno, literally in a long trench coat.
He basically looks like
kind
Leon.
of the same. It's the same glasses as well, right?
Basically, Victor in that is put him in there, and he created such a stir amongst the audience as a supporting character. That's kind of how Leon came into being, because they think, well, everyone likes this character, let's do a movie about him, essentially.
Okay.
Also, Jean Reno wanted to play Leon as a slow character, as in minded.
That's what we were
But
saying, yeah.
Because to me, there was like a lot of people are going to pick up the controversial side between an older man with a little girl.
Which, from what Sam was telling me earlier about the director's cut,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the bed scene, isn't it?
Amongst other things, but also there's a good solid 10 minutes of extra love story. I mean, it really is a love story. And it's all about Matilda battering down his boundaries.
Yeah.
Constantly,
And America weren't happy with that, were they? I think
No,
the French
no, I
were
can-
very okay about it, but not the Americans.
Even though I understand what the director was doing there, it's still uncomfortable. It's a little bit creepy. Even though it's her instigating nearly everything that occurs.
But Leon wanted to play that as a more of an innocent figure, whereas he questioned that. He thought a lot of people were going to question why would he be with this little girl. And he said it's because he's
quite childlike, which does come through, because I was saying about it, the scene when he's in the cinema, it's just that innocence on his face as he's watching Gene Kelly.
The wonder and joy on his face in that little tiny cinema scene.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that use the theory that he's autistic.
That's what I was thinking.
That was a thing we were debating before you turned up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
You mean in Delirium?
Yes, while you were taking care of your ablutions. Saved it. But no, the reason why I brought it up is because what happens in Nikita is basically a hit goes wrong, shit everywhere, they need a cleaner to clean up the mess and get rid of the evidence. Hence the term cleaner. So I'm wondering, can we feed that into this? This is part of his responsibility. He's not just there as a hitman, he's here to clean up the mess, which will change the story. Because obviously that means like the site of the deal gone wrong. Part of his responsibility is to make sure that all disappears.
Out of the public's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would explain him having a more extreme reaction in this situation because he has to clean up the witnesses and everything, doesn't he?
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. That's
Let's begin, chaps.
Shall we begin? So obviously, I take it we still get the voiceover at the start with Tommy Lee Jones, with Dawn, and all this kind of thing.
yeah.
What do we want to do about the beginning with... Because obviously at the beginning we see Chigurh being arrested. I was wondering, does that need to happen? Is there another way that we can do this? I know it's never established whether or not Leon can drive. The film doesn't tell us that. Because he lives in New York, so he's never...
Yeah, it's not necessary in New York.
Yeah.
I would say let's just get this out of the way and go, well, because movie, he needs to drive. He's in a bigger place than he was in, or more isolated place than, he was in New York.
Never established that he couldn't drive. It's just that he couldn't
We
read
never
or
see it.
write.
Yeah. So, are we still going to keep him being arrested at the start? Do we not need that? Because it doesn't ever specifically say why Chigurh gets arrested. It's mostly because he's sat there with the thing up his sleeve, isn't he? Obviously, Leon's not going to have that. I didn't know whether we want to do it slightly different way, that he's hitching a ride, gets a lift from the guy that we see Chigurh get later, and then as the camera pans out, you just see a body or something behind the car. His car's knackered or something. I don't know.
I personally don't think it would make sense that he gets arrested right at the beginning.
No.
I think there should be another way around that, because I don't think it's like Leon's character to get caught.
Yes, he doesn't like being seen. He doesn't like leading witnesses. Even when he goes to the dude, when he at the beginning, he sneaks at him from the shadows from behind, so he can't get a good look at him or anything like that.
Yeah,
it is part of Leon's MO. I see what you're saying. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the idea of him hitchhiking. That's a bit random for a professional.
I was thinking more that he had a car and his car is broken down, so he's having to hitch to get somewhere further. That's what was my thought.
See, I would go yes, but not him hitchhiking.
So somebody pulls over to jumpstart his car, and the camera pans around, and we see the big bag, the violin case, and all of that on the back seat.
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm saying he's probably going to leave a body behind of the guy that he pulls over. but it would happen differently because obviously he's not masquerading as a policeman or whatever. Like you say, he's broken down by the side of the road and
somebody pulls over to help.
Yeah. Maybe we have a conversation and it turns out the guy pulls over to help, but he doesn't have what Leon needs to get going. So Leon just decides to take his car instead.
Again, I don't know because he's not a target.
I'm just thinking because there's a lot of like cool dialogue in this movie, and we might as well have a dialogue scene there where it's like, oh, you need help.
What about
the problem? What's this?
Well, what about this? It's the helpful guy. He goes, oh no, you must have one in the boot, and he opens the boot, and there's weapons and stuff in the boot.
What you got in the trunk?
Oh, you don't want to look in there.
Oh, that's even better.
And that's why
that's even better. I like that. Yeah,
Leon a reason to go. Yes, you've seen me. You've seen this.
Oh dear, no witnesses.
Oh, it could even be even worse. He opens the boot and there's a body in the back.
That might be a step too far.
Okay.
Yeah,
go for the weapons then. Yeah.
The weapons are enough. That's enough of an excuse for him
to show who he is.
Yes,
I would say it's worthy of a gold star.
I think so. Yeah.
Good. Our first catch of the day.
Yeah,
so it's tough to do.
It was a bit of a tough little way to begin this.
Yeah.
I told you there were going to be bits at the beginning that we had to sort out.
Yes,
not
absolutely.
lie.
So we have Leon.
So he doesn't
in the
kill
narrative.
the guy. He doesn't kill the driver. He just takes the vehicle.
I think if he spots the weapons, he's going to have to.
Yeah, if he spots the weapons, I think Leon's going to have to get rid of him as a potential witness.
Cut off screen. Don't need to see it.
Oh, how about this? So
You've seen him. He's seen his car. He's seen the license plate.
You see him. So then you see him kind of pushing the car out of sight of the road with the body in it, and then maybe just as he's pulling off, you get that cop just drives past.
A just-in-time moment.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Then we get loads of everybody else, which we don't need to worry about.
And then we get to probably the best scene in the movie.
The cash register one?
The cash with the coin toss, mate.
Yeah, the coin toss scene.
Yeah.
It's arguably the best scene.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time I watch that, even though you know how it's going to end, you're sort of...
I didn't realise when I was rewatching it that there was music in it. I thought that in that scene that it was completely non-diegetic music, but it's got an ambience as it goes into Anton Chigurh speaking.
But I never noticed.
Unless it's a weird copy I watched, I just happened to...
I was noticing it earlier on. It's like it's got a sound design, but it doesn't have a soundtrack.
Yeah, it's not music as such. It's just a noise that appears. But I've remembered it being completely cold, quiet, like as he's talking. But which I thought was the point. And I thought, oh yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. But
Go back and have a look at it. I never noticed.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's in there.
Yeah,
but I was noticing that because that was, and I was just listening, and it's just people talking. There's no freaking music. Yeah, I don't think there's any music in the entire film.
There might be a couple in some of the transitional shots.
But it's extremely minimalist.
Yeah.
So is Leon going to the shop to buy some milk?
Yeah, why not? We might as well.
Is that the reason he goes to the shop, maybe?
Oh, right, to get some milk. Of course he wants to get some milk.
He's not buying candy.
He's in the middle of nowhere. He might just want something to drink as well.
Yeah, fills up on gas. Grabs a couple of pints of milk.
And he speaks to the cash register.
And the dude mentions that he's noted where the car comes from.
Yeah. So is he going to be offended as Anton was?
I mean, we can do it one of two ways. We can go for the car. That'll be the obvious one. When he's... I don't suppose Leon wouldn't say anything. I was going to say the other thing is, oh yeah, you're not from around here, and he hears his accent.
You see, this is the thing. We've got that scene, but it's going to lose Anton, which is what brings the tension, because
is what makes the scene. Yeah,
it's not the same as somebody seeing the guns in the boot of your car. He's just like, oh, how was the traffic in Dallas or whatever, you know.
The closest to that scene is almost the hotel clerk with Leon, as he does most of the talking, whereas Leon just literally
stands there.
He just listens and that's it. He only says what he needs to say.
Yeah,
because it's going to be the cash register who will own the scene and not.
Yeah.
Leon's not going to obviously do anything menacing or intimidating at all.
It's just him stood there with his beanie and the glasses,
be quite shy
staring at him. Yeah,
still have some sort of dialogue about it. Just to...
I think we go with what you just said there. It's the guy with the cash register talking, and Leon just looking at him.
Like the dude is literally talking himself into the tension of the situation.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be a very occasional extreme close-up of the hand inching a bit closer to his hip or something like that.
He could even say, like, there are some dodgy people, not dodgy people, but there are, this area is full of dangerous men, or, be careful out there. And that's what makes him quiet, just because he's eager to listen to what he has to say.
Oh, you got a lot of milk there. Do you like your milk? And all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It won't have quite the same tensile edge. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. It gives us the scene. And it does give us some good tension.
It does. So after that is Llewellyn getting back home and telling Carla Jean to pack.
Yeah. And then the sheriff's warning.
No, because before that, we've got
Wait, no, yeah, you're right.
we've got
patching up and
Leon
leaving.
arriving at the scene of the deal.
Yes, Anton's inspection of the scene
Oh, with the two guys.
Yeah.
with the two guys.
Yeah.
Feels like that's going to go pretty similar. Because once again, Leon, no witnesses.
He's a clean killer as well, so he would just shoot them in the head with a silencer.
I think again we can just drop in there. He says, "Oh, right, so you're here to clean all this up, are you?" Yes, all of it. Bang bang.
Yeah, I like that line already.
If we want to, we can kind of cut in a little bit of him going around, zipping all the bags up, all the bodies up into polythene bags, throwing them in the back of the trucks. This is where, again, we're going to diverge from the original film, because where is he going to hide all this stuff, or is he just going to push them all together and torch the lot of it?
I think, yes, the second one there. I mean, he's got to go and find somewhere that he can burn, a dozen human bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
No. So you throw them you throw them all in the back of the pickups, put all the pickups together and burn the lot of them.
You can't entirely get rid of the bodies, but you can make it almost impossible to identify them.
Oh, sorry, for some reason, because when this came out, suddenly started making me think of The Crow. Does he organise the vehicles so they're in a big L in the desert? And then...
Speaking of which, about the Crow, as soon as they announced the news that Brandon Lee died,
Mm.
they were very cautious about Natalie Portman with gun safety on that film. Same time, apparently.
Yes,
So
94.
they
Of course,
were-
94, yeah, 94 was the year of the Crow, yeah.
They were very funny about gun control even to then.
So that's obviously going to make Tommy Lee Jones... I can never remember what Tommy Lee Jones' character is called.
Ed Tom Bell.
Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his first name, but he's Sheriff Bell.
But yeah, it's going to make it harder for them then when they get out there, because it's not just an orgy of evidence, as they like to call it, with everything lying around.
I don't know.
Can I throw in...
Bell's a very smart man. He's going to pick up a lot of the clues.
Can I throw in one thing then at this point? Gets all the bodies together, gets them in the trucks, torches all the trucks, but buries the dog.
Yes.
That kind of childlike innocence.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the sentimentality of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
So that's the end of that scene.
Yes, going through the sheriff's morning, picking up the horse, going out to see the scene,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out the whole mess.
And obviously, as you say, Bell will notice there. So he's torched all of that, but buried the dog.
And then our last major scene for this, of course, is Anton at the trailer park.
Mhm.
Or rather, Leon at the trailer park.
So again, one of the other things, unfortunately, that we do lose is we don't have the air blower for getting into the thing, but Leon probably just picks the lock.
Yes, I think
Easily.
Yeah.
Would he get the giant crow... what's he call them?
Oh, like the bolt cutters.
Bolt cutters, that's it.
I don't know if he would there. I think it's a bit too public. I think he'd pick his way in.
Yeah.
And get in quietly. But again, we can still have the bit where he kind of looks around and then finds the milk.
Yeah.
I'll have some milk.
That's milk.
So you don't reckon anything is not going to be too much different? Maybe a bit politer, do you think, with the landlady?
Yes, because no women.
Not much talking. He
No.
wouldn't even say... I wouldn't say he'd say anything.
But he might have to. He might have to say something because of... he needs to know, let them know who he's looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Say what he needs to say.
But only that, yes.
But we go for the same thing, that he finds the phone bill and keeps hold of that.
Yes.
Which is the end of Act 1 for him. That is it.
It is. I mean, we've got a couple of more scenes there, but basically the important parts of the act are done because everything else is going to go on freaking rails.
Yes. Are we happy then that Bell is going to figure out as much from this setup? I mean, he said he's a clever guy. He might get most of it. Because I can't remember, because they don't go off looking for the bagman, do they?
No.
They comment that there's pretty darn sure there is one.
Okay.
Who Llewellyn finds.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they mentioned
Dude with the actual bag of money. Yeah, I got the impression they didn't find him. Because they went burning car, following Llewellyn's tracks in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's other trucks.
So that's the, I suppose, then the only last little question mark is, so we need to decide, does Leon clean up Llewellyn's truck? A bit harder because it's further away and they do the tyres on it.
Maybe, yes, although it won't matter because the sheriff knows who's Llewellyn's truck.
Yes.
As soon as he sees the license plate.
He'll recognise it, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Cool.
Well done.
I think that's one each then.
Oh.
If you think that's...
Well, I was hesitant, but okay.
I mean, it depends if you want. We could even have Leon have missed one or two of the shells to give a bit more of a clue to the sheriff if we want to.
Yeah, may as well.
I mean, because there was clearly a lot of gunfire going on there.
Yes, yeah. So, reasonably short, reasonably sweet.
How I
For this
like
one.
it.
And on that note, thank you for joining us again. We're going to mull over the monster that's going to be Act 2. And we will be back on Friday with that. Until then, as always, take care. And we will see you on Friday.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Bon voyage.
Call it.
Ba 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 ba.